Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander. And today we have another episode in our Spoiler Spotlight series in which I talk about, well, spoilers and tell you what my thoughts are on them. But before that, just a quick reminder to click subscribe if you enjoy my videos. We're well on our way to 1 million subscribers and your support means everything to me. And today we're going to be talking about me, the Immortal. For 2 colorless, 1 green, 1 blue, and 1 red, she's a legendary creature, human rogue 3/3 with, at the beginning of combat on your turn, put your choice of a +1/+1 first strike, vigilance, or menace counter on me the Immortal. Counters remain on me the Immortal as it moves to any zone other than a player's hand or library, and you may cast me from your graveyard by discarding 2 cards in addition to paying its other costs. So this is an incredibly cool commander, and to be honest it threw me off a little bit when I first saw it because it looks so much like Arya Stark from Game of Thrones, and then of course I realized that in fact it is the same actress, Maisie Williams, who's playing the character in Doctor Who, but her outfit and the lighting just really reminds me of her character in Game of Thrones. In any case, as for what the card actually does itself, it's very, very cool. It's a bit like Briar Skull in that the counters will remain on it as it moves to different zones. That's a pretty cool ability to have, but apart from that, it also allows you to cast it from your graveyard as long as you discard 2 cards in addition to its other costs. So that means that you can really kind of go to town with this and not have to pay any command attacks, even if it gets killed a few times. Of course, if it gets exiled, it's still going to go to the command zone, but since you can keep putting counters on it, then this is just going to get more and more powerful as the game goes on and should be a very interesting Voltron commander. There's a few things that I'd like to mention about it. So first off, obviously getting those counters is nice. Depending on the situation, you're probably going to go for either vigilance or menace first. Those are probably the 2 most impactful ones. First strike can be good on defense as well, and particularly good if you already have vigilance on it, which could make her very annoying. The +1/+1 counter is going to be what you do after you've already got all the other counters, because there's so many other ways for you to put +1/+1 counters on this. There's so much synergy with that in these colors that you shouldn't really have any issue getting tons of counters on her. What I think is interesting as well with her is that you can put other counters on her as well. They're not necessarily the ones indicated on the card. So to that end, something like Scavenged Brawler is pretty nice because it's going to put a flying counter, a trample counter, and a lifelink counter on her, which is very nice. Agent's Toolkit is another really interesting card because you can bring it down first and then move either a Death Touch counter or a shield counter onto her, which is obviously very nice as well. My favorite, however, is Slippery Bog Bonder, which can put an hexproof counter on her at instant speed, and that's going to stay on her permanently, basically, even if she somehow gets removed, which at that point will be very difficult because she's got a hexproof counter on her. There's obviously a lot of other cards that also work with this kind of plan. Nesting Grounds is particularly good because you can move counters around your creatures with it, so once you've given her hexproof or made sure that she can't really be easily removed, you're pretty safe to pile on all sorts of different counters on her and build her into a real monstrosity, which seems very, very fun, if quite annoying to deal with. Parrot Sanctum is another really good one because it only takes up a land slot, but you can basically, once you've made her a god, put an indestructible counter on her. So with those 2, you have an easy way to give her indestructible and an easy way to give her hexproof. This is going to mean that she's a pain to deal with. You don't even need to necessarily go to those lengths because already being able to recast her from the graveyard is a great way of getting redundancy. It seems like she's going to be very tough to deal with in the right situation with the right build, so I anticipate her actually being quite a strong commander and maybe not as casual as you might initially think from looking at her abilities. In any case, so it's a very cool design and it really allows for a kind of build your own monster approach to deck building, which is always very fun. So there you have it. Those have been my thoughts on this new spoiler. What do you think about this card? Please let me know in the comment section below. I read all comments and respond to all of them too. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel. And until next time, take care. Woo!